It's day 6 for Knit at 9. And before we get into the project that we're working on today in support of the American Cancer Society and chemo patients, I just want to share with you that when I first saw this knit-a-thon fundraiser opportunity, the default goal for the fundraiser was $250. And I'm thinking, well, that's going to be a challenge, but I want to double it and just challenge myself even more. And I wanted it to be $500 to see if that can be raised. And the sponsors came through. You came through. We have reached the goal of $500 and even have gone a bit beyond that. And that is just mind blowing because, you set your mind for a thing thinking, well, that's going to be challenging, but I'm going to try it anyway. And if you put your heart in the right place, your expectations can be exceeded. This is abundance above and beyond. Let me show you our journey. Well, I am truly celebrating. I am so excited and so grateful that we reached the $500 goal. We're extending that and setting a goal of $700 because in my mind, I'm thinking it's challenging, but God is in control. That's who is making all of this happen, and I am grateful. So, welcome to the Knitathon. We are crafting for a cause. If this is your first time joining us, well, this is day 6. You can watch today and continue until November 30th because we are knitting every day, daily knitting. And the project that we're working on today is sponsored by Kelly. Thank you, Kelly. Kelly sponsored yesterday's project as well, and she's sponsoring today's project. Today's project is going to be a bookmarker. It's a crochet and knitted bookmarker, and it's actually, I think, throughout our knitathon, this is the first time that we're doing the bookmarker, and those will likely be done on Wednesdays or Saturdays because I don't have a work schedule for that day, but we're still going to have the goal of completing it within the hour. And every day we're here at 9 for the Knit at 9 series. And let's get started. I want to share with you what we are using today. So I'm going to use this green. Um, Let me bring you a little bit closer so that you can see the project view here, or maybe even this close. So I'm going to be using this green yarn right here, and it is Lion Brand yarn, the homespun. It's very soft and very crinkly. So we're going to use that for the stem of the flower, and then we're going to use this color, this rust color. It's the Red Heart yarn again. So this is going to be the main color of our flower. And then we're going to trim the flower with this color right here. So these two colors are going to be our flower. I'm curious to see what it's going to look like. And then, of course, I have my scissors. I have my crochet hook because we're going to crochet the flower and knit the stem. I have stitch markers as well as the tag to put on Kelly's project. So this is an idea of what the flower will look like. This is a carnation. So here's the flower and then the stem. I'll show it to you in the camera view, the overhead view. So this is what we are creating today. So with this green here, I'm going to do a cast on, and we're going to do panel knitting today. I'll bring you closer to the project. We're going to do panel knitting today. And what that means is we're not doing a circular, we're not going all the way around, we're just doing a flat panel. So we'll be going back and forth. And we're only going to cast on 15 stitches for the stem. Hi, Miss Davina. Thank you for tuning in and checking out the Knit at 9 series. Good to see you. Okay, so I'm going to put my machine back at the very start. Since we're going to do this in circular mode, I can go ahead and go with this first pin. So the pins are counted, and I'm only going to do 15, so I'll know how far to go. So we're going to weave it in and out, doing the cast on row. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I want more. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I think 20 is a good number. Actually, 21 because it comes around the back. We're going to close this. So in this panel knitting, we're just going to go back and forth. I'm going to set my, actually, I'm going to set my counter to 0. The counter only counts if you go over this black pin. We may have to count the rows ourselves. Okay. I don't want to knit this extra one. Oops. So I'm just going far enough to where I see that last stitch being caught. I need to actually drop my ball into my bin on the floor here so that it can roll a bit more freely. I think that was better. I say 15, a couple more. So this is the last one here. And the way to take the project off is I'm going to take it out of the feeder. Actually, I'm going to leave myself a tail so that I can seam it down and weave in the flower at the top. So I'm going to give myself a generous tail and take it out of the machine. Take the yarn out of the feeder, I mean. And we're just going to knit back and forth, and then it's going to fall off of the machine. Yay! So here's our stem. So let's move the machine out of the way so that we can work on our flower. Taking off my brackets. My brackets on the machine. And just gonna get rid of the cuff marks from the feet. I like to spray alcohol on the table just to get rid of those scuffs. Okay, so here's their stem. We don't need that right now. So I have my pattern here for the carnation flower, and I can share that if you like. If anyone wants the pattern, comment pattern, and I can share it with you. So I have it here so that I can follow it. So this carnation flower is made up of mainly double crochet on here. So I'm going to start with a magic ring, and this is the way I create my magic ring. Wrapping around 2 fingers and just pulling it through. And in this magic ring, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And this yarn actually calls for a size H hook, but I'm using a one that's a bit smaller because I want my flower to be a bit tighter. I want the stitches to be a bit tighter. So we're going to do 1 double crochet in this same stitch. So it's a yarn over, pull through the first 2 and through the next 2. And actually, I'm going to be using a stitch marker on here. To mark the beginning of each row. So I'm going to go ahead and do 17 double crochet in this ring. 1, 2, 3, 'There's not a lot of slip on this. Did I say 3? Let's count. 2, 3, 4. That was 4. 5. 6. 7. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So I want to go ahead and tighten it, tighten up the circle, tighten up the ring so that you have a circle. So now we have our circle. Hey, Pamela. Good morning. So today's project is sponsored by Kelly, and we're doing a bookmarker, which is going to be a flower. So we've already knitted the stem, and now we're creating the flower. It's going to be a carnation. So today is a combination of knitting and crocheting, and the flower is going to look like this with the colors that we have here. Okay, so this is the first step in this. So now we're going to slip stitch in the beginning here, which is where I have my stitch marker. Ah, and then I'm going to chain 3 and double crochet in this same stitch. I'm going to add my stitch marker back. And then we're going to do 18 double crochet into each, one double crochet into each one of these around. This yarn doesn't have a lot of slip in my fingers. Like it feels a bit rough. Not sure why, because the other red hearts that I've used didn't feel that way. Just have to give myself slack here. I think one good thing about this particular project, this flower, like you don't necessarily have to count stitches after you get that first 17 double crochets in the magic ring, because after that you're basically going inside of the stitches that you've already created for the most part anyway. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and slip stitch in this beginning stitch where we have the stitch marker, and I have my pattern right here, my instructions right here. I'm just going to check for myself what I've done. We're going to do this 2 more times. So after I slip stitch in this first stitch to join, kind of tight. There we go. Now I'm going to chain 3 again, and we're going to do the double crochet in this stitch. Add my stitch marker, drop the hook, and we're just going to do double crochet all the way around again. So I hope you can see this okay. Oh, you're welcome, Pam, for showing what that looks like. It's good to have a visual. I'm a visual person. Pam, I don't know if you saw in the beginning, but the fundraiser goal that I set of $500 has been met. We are a little over $500 in the fundraiser goal. So exciting. And that's thanks to you and all the other sponsors exceeding my expectations. So we're going to keep going strong. And I've just increased the goal to 700. So I'm really excited about that. We do have still more spaces on the calendar that needs to be filled. I can actually share that with you. We have 5 more spaces at the bottom of the calendar that still don't have a sponsored item for anyone that's looking to donate to the American Cancer Society. You can definitely do that. Your donation goes straight to them, but you also sponsor a project for me to knit to go to a chemo patient as well. So we're at the end of this row. I'm going to slip stitch. And then chain 3. So we just finished that one. So we're going to do this again. Double crochet. Add in my stitch marker. Let's bring it a little closer. Is this closer? I'm not sure if it is closer. So this is what we have so far. It's creating like a little cup, the bottom of the stem for the flower. So we're going to have one more level of elevation. And these are double crochet all the way around. And if you're not familiar with double crochet, you do a yarn over, you insert your hook, you grab the yarn and pull it up so you have three on your hook, a yarn over and pull it through the first two, a yarn over and you pull it through the next two. So, and that's a double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up your yarn. You have three loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through the first two, yarn over and pull through the next two. Give myself some slack here. This would be really cool done on yarn that's a bit chunkier. Like if you wanted to just create a flower motif for something else, like for a blanket, that would be cool. Have a big chunky carnation flower. My hook fell out. Let's see here. I have a few more on this row. Thank you for joining in, Wanda. Thank you for joining in, Maria, over on Instagram. We got some Instagram viewers as well as Facebook viewers and YouTube. Wherever you're joining in from, thank you for tuning in. This project that we're working on today, it's sponsored by Kelly. If you haven't seen that message yet, let's go into here. Ah, I lost it. So this is the last double crochet, and I'm going to slip stitch in the beginning. So here's our little bucket, so to speak. My little pencil here. Oh, so now I'm going to chain three, and I'm actually going to do three double crochet in every stitch. So we're going to start with the same stitch that we just created and do, well, my stitch marker so I don't lose my place. This project will definitely give you practice on creating double crochets. We're doing three in every hole. One, two, So when you do add multiple stitches in one space, it creates like a ruffle, like a bubble effect. So that's how the flower starts to curl, imitating the ruffly carnation leaves. When you have the basic pattern for this flower, you can actually be a little bit creative with it. Meaning, if you wanted to add four double crochet in this stitch, each stitch instead of three, you can definitely do that. Just have a fluffier flower, which there's nothing wrong with that. Flowers comes in all different shapes and sizes, just like we do. Sometimes you may just have to pull the project back to really be able to see those stitches because it can get fluffy and cover up the holes that you need to see. But if you do stretch it out, you're able to see like how many stitches. Like we have three stitches in this one, in each one going around. This project only has 7 rows, so it's not terribly time consuming, but it does take time. Was that three? Yeah, it was three. Speaking of time, how are we looking for time? We'll just go until we can't go anymore. You can see how it's fanning out. If I hold it this way, it kind of looks like a little hat. It's creating a cup for the flower's cup. See, that was one. I'm gonna do two more in here, one more in here. Our sponsors here. Hi, Kelly. Thanks for joining us. This bookmarker that we're creating today is sponsored by you. Thank you so much. If you haven't seen, we have met and exceeded our goal for the fundraiser. The initial goal was $500. We've already met that and went over a little bit thanks to you and all the other sponsors. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Oh, and I see Pam has saw that. She saw that the goal was met and gone over. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. exceedingly abundantly above and beyond. Taken out of my hands and put it in God's hands. He can do all things, even if we think it's might not be possible or might be too challenging. Putting your mind and heart in the right place very often can exceed your expectations. And I'm grateful. Okay, so we have one more space for this row. I'm going to do 3 in here. A stitch marker out of the way. Okay, so we've done that row. I'm going to cross it off on my little pattern here. So I'm going to connect with the beginning of the row with a slip stitch. We're going to chain 3 again. And we're going to do the same thing. All of those extra stitches that we created, we're going to go back and put 3 double crochet in each one of those. But on the very last double crochet is where we're going to change the color. So let's start with the other double crochets in this stitch. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and add my stitch marker so I'll know exactly where the beginning of this row starts. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And Kelly, I'm not sure if you know, but we're creating a flower, a bookmarker. The stem for the flower was knitted on the Addy. You see it at the top of the screen on the project side. And then this flower is crochet. And if you can, I don't know if you can see in the bottom, well, not on this screen. Let me pull full screen. You can see this is what we're using for the main color. It's like a rust color. And then this um, color is going to be the trim for the flower. It's an earthy flower. So all these stitches going all the way around are getting 3 double crochet in them. It's creating the fluff or the fan look on our carnation flower. I don't know that I would call myself a fast crocheter, but I do hope that we can get as far as we can. And once again, if we don't finish within the hour, I will have the behind the scenes finishing of this um, taped and shared in the fundraiser page. And you can kind of see how it's starting to curve and wave up. Yes, I think so too, Kelly. I think it's going to be a nice earthy looking flower. I mean, this rust color is like a red, vibrant color. It's going to be a fall flower, right? Fall colors. So I agree. I just have to remember to change the color at the last double crochet in this row. Keep giving myself some slack here. This fundraiser is giving me cause to be back in my dream box, which is so cool for me, being one that loves crafts. I have my I have most of my craft things in here. When I say most of, there's still some things that I have in other three drawer um, files or totes. Like I have some fabric in other places. I have mailers, um, just things that are kind of long that don't necessarily fit into the dream box or or chunky. But for the most part, I have all of my supplies and tools here in the dream box, which is so convenient because I can just sit right here at this table, open the doors on the dream box, and everything that I need is basically within arm's reach. The yarn that I have is actually in little baskets, and I keep those on the very top of my dream box. But now I've pulled most of them down to be on the table that's behind me. So on the table that's behind me, I have some of my bins. Actually, I have four bins on the table, just in easy reach, so that I don't have to get up and down, stand up and down, just to grab yarn for this month in particular. Like after this month is over, um, I'll put the yarn back up at the top and just keep it out of the way. Well, good morning, Elizabeth. Thank you for tuning into our Knit at Nine live series. Glad you can join in with us. Are you a crafter? What's your craft of choice? Oh, Pam says she's watching through Facebook. Yes. I love using StreamYard whenever I go live because it does allow me to stream in three locations at one time. So we're live on Facebook, on YouTube, as well as on Instagram. So it gives you opportunity as well to log in at your platform of choice, which I think is a good deal. So cool. I'm glad we have people logging in from all three locations or watching from all three locations. The one thing that I've noticed though, I'm able to see the comments from Facebook and from YouTube, but I don't see the comments from Instagram. Like they don't populate in here where I'm able to share them. Um, wonder if StreamYard will update that. Hopefully so. Our carnation is curving. Oh, so I was sharing like the different crafts and stuff that I have in my dream box. So I do have like all of my 12 by 12 paper, um, ink pads, other decorative paper, my scissors, my beads, my tools, the rotary cutting tools, the ribbon. Focus, Janet. Focus. Yeah. And all the things. Because my one of my first favorite pastimes was greeting cards, was making greeting cards. And I mean, I still love to do that. I just haven't in a very long time. I actually have several boxes of greeting cards that I've made and just have never delivered. So I have a stash basically of greeting cards. In one year, what I did was I created a folder for all of my sisters with full of greeting cards for the year. So of course, I put birthday cards in there for each month for all of our birthdays. So there'd be no excuse for none of us to send each other a birthday card or a holiday card. So I had all the months in the folder that I created, and then I had cards in each month. Like there's Christmas cards in there, there's New Year's cards and Thanksgiving cards, um, all different holidays. I think I even had some Easter cards in there. And of course, birthdays and just celebration, things like anniversary, um, things like that. And I'll say for the longest, they didn't want to use the cards. They said, "Oh, they're too pretty to give away." Like, is that the point to give away a nice greeting card, one that you think looks nice? Oh, Elizabeth, that's cool. She says she's not a crafter, but enjoys watching her mom makes quilts, and it was always fun to watch. Yeah, I think it's um, fun to watch as well. I'm always watching some type of crafting video on YouTube or even on Pinterest. I'll type in something that I want to learn how to do. And I like on Pinterest because it's usually a really quick version of it. And then if I want more details, I'll just go over to YouTube to get a bit of a longer video to watch so I can have all the deets. We're getting there. I've been excited to make another flower. I'm glad today was flower day. I think I am getting hooked on making beanies and scarves. I'm getting hooked on this circular knitting machine. I may have to change my gifts for Christmas. You get a beanie, you get a beanie, you get a beanie. especially now that we know, or now that I know, it can be done so efficiently. One, two, like this is, that's why we got a little knot here. So today, since it's my official off day, so I work 4 10-hour shifts, I'm going to venture out to Joanne and see what type of yarn I can find. Some more vibrant colors because I already have a gift card for Joanne that I've had for quite some time, but I've not had anything that I've needed or wanted. But now I want more yarn. And I'll probably need more yarn for this project. Knitting every day until the 30th of the month. Ooh, we're at 53. 9:53. I'll definitely have to finish it over on the fundraiser page. Look at what we have so far. I think the accent color at the end really helps make the flower pop. Really helps to see all of the structure, the waves and such. Oops. I think crochet, for me, it seems a bit more forgiving than knitting if there's a mistake in your project. And maybe it's just my familiarity with crocheting more so than the knitting, but it's easier to fix any issues on crochet. Knitting issues can be fixed as well, but I think it's just the way the stitches go together, it's a bit more challenging. Those two. One, two. I have like one, two, three, four, I think 6 more stitches. 6 times 3. I have actually seen different hats on social media that have ruffles like this. I can't think of what they're called. I don't know what they're called, but I've seen like bucket hats with a lot of ruffles like this. Oh, I missed some comments here. Oh, Kelly's working on a scarf. Cool. Tell me your colors. Tell me, are you knitting or crocheting? Are you using a circular machine? I know you said you have one, but I imagine you're using a circular machine. Yes. What are your thoughts? How do you like it? How's it going? I have all the questions, Kelly. Okay, there's one more after this. So this round, I need to change my color, but not quite yet. I still have another stitch or two, three. So I got three in here. So I have the last double crochet. So I'm going to cut this yarn. We're finished with this one. And now I'm going to add this yarn on that yarn over for this last double crochet. Pull that through. And then we can slip stitch into the first stitch here. I'm just going to pull this a little tighter. And then do that slip stitch. I'm going to pull that tight, pull that tight. So now we have our color changed. And we finish this row in the pattern. So now we're going to do a chain one. And we're going to do a single crochet in this same chain. Oh, my tail's here. And then we're going to chain three. And then single crochet in the next stitch. Going to chain three. And then single crochet in the next stitch. And this is going to be our pattern to finish this all the way around. Chain three and single crochet in the next. So we are chaining three, then single crochet in this next stitch. So we're single crocheting in every stitch around, but we're doing a chain three in between so that that gives us this accent color at the top. So this is going to be all the way around this ruffly edge that we have in our flower. And once it's all bundled together or, smashed together, we're going to have our carnation. Oh, that's awesome, Kelly. You love it. Yay. I'm glad you love the circular knitting machine. I love it too. And I'm hooked. I'm hooked. So cool. So we have actually reached the end of our live, but this is what gives you an idea of what our project will look like. We have, once we finish the flower going, or the trim going all the way around this flower, we'll have this, and then we'll attach the stem at the bottom. So this will be our flower. I'll put it in this view as well. I will post the final product over on the fundraiser page. That is the time that we have for our live stream. I do thank you for joining with us, and we will see you tomorrow for another project. Thank you, Kelly.